When my family moved to a new apartment some 40 years ago, we kept it unfurnished for a couple of months, and we had a ping pong table and a few mattresses, I guess. So my dad used one of the rooms that was still empty as his studio and painted some about 20 beautiful oil landscape paintings. And he never created another painting, I think, before or after that. As a child, I was really impressed by my dad's paintings on the walls, and I didn't really understand why he had to work for a gas company instead of being a painter. And now I know it was a few different reasons, including 2 kids to feed, low confidence, low faith in life, fear, lack of support from my mom, and so on. About 12 years ago, when I was 36, I finally took the time to try oil painting. And I think that if my dad hadn't taken those few creative months to produce paintings 40 years ago, I might have never discovered painting myself. Because I inherited so many other traits from my dad, I always suspected I might be good at painting too. And when I was buying paints and the canvas, a sales assistant asked me if I was a painter. And I remember that sounded so good to me that I said, yeah, I am, even though I hadn't painted anything yet. My first painting, Angelina Jolie with poultry, surprised everyone, including myself. It came out very well for a first attempt at a portrait. I did spend many hours working on it, though. Since then, in the last 12 years, I have painted a lot and exhibited my paintings in restaurants and art cafes, never in an art gallery. They normally take 50%, so they pump up the prices. I sold some paintings, not sure how many, maybe around 30 altogether. I also painted 2 murals, one in a bed and breakfast in Las Palmas and another one in a small restaurant in India. In India, I sold at a small local beach market, but I didn't like sitting there waiting for someone to buy, so I just spent a few hours there. I don't know how people do it. And I sold about 4 or 5 small paintings in India to travelers from different countries, even Australia. One of my paintings is in Australia. And that was a great experience. Some years I paint less, and there have been years when I haven't painted at all. But I do feel the need to paint if I haven't done it in a few months. When I have a home base in the next few years, a flat or a house where I can put my paintings, I know I will paint more. And I will use bigger canvases. When people see my paintings, most of them seem impressed and they say I'm talented. I usually tell them that they could do it too if they wanted to. It's about the time you spend on it. But if you don't enjoy the process, you won't spend enough time on a painting. I love the process, and it's kind of a therapy for me. I listen to audiobooks and podcasts as I paint, and that's probably my happiest time. I do think that some people are more talented than others, but it's not like singing where you can't do much if you weren't born with a good voice and a good ear. Painting is not so objective. Any kind of style goes, and it's not so much about talent anymore. I'm sometimes annoyed by modern paintings that can look like a child painted them, especially because they tend to be the most expensive ones. It seems unfair that a painting showing no talent, no skill or work or time invested, something done in 15 minutes or less, or at least it looks like that, and that, like for example, black or white canvas or some just splash of color, and that can cost more than a painting where you see skill, talent, time, and effort invested. Is the value of a painting whatever people are willing to pay? And why are they willing to pay a fortune for something that they could probably do better themselves without spending more than an hour or less? Some people buy it as an investment because the prices of popular paintings and artists tends to rise. Some buy it because they feel it speaks to them, it moves them, they take pleasure from it, or it stimulates them. Modern art is explained, for example, as a rebellion against artistic norms. You can do that with other kinds of art, like singing. People wouldn't accept it. They wouldn't listen to someone with a horrible voice and no ear for music. For me, it's important that I like my paintings and that I paint whatever I want, however I want. I think most people who paint feel like this. I don't see the point in painting something just to make money. I did a few commissions where people paid me to paint their family, and I didn't enjoy it. So I decided not to do it anymore. Not that I was overwhelmed with requests, but I will say no if someone asks me again. It was just work. I'd rather do other things for money. Though it would be great if I could paint what I want and sell enough of it to survive without doing the marketing that I don't like doing. Maybe because I never learned it. Maybe I'll learn marketing and start enjoying it. I would definitely have to sell prints because I can't paint enough originals to make a living. At least not at the prices that I'm comfortable selling at. The last painting I sold was 250 euros. I tried painting in an abstract style just for the sake of experimentation because I love experimenting, but it's hard for me. Actually, what's hard is convincing myself that what I painted is good, to call it finished, to like it, if I paint in an abstract style. But I will experiment it. I will experiment with it more. Since I like novelty and experimentation, I paint in collections of around, 10 or 12 paintings, and each collection is a different style and subject. I try to follow the standard advice everyone gives you to find your recognizable style and stick with it, but I figure it's not for me, and I don't have to do that. I'd rather be authentic and happy than successful. I would be bored without experimenting, always painting in the same style. Nah. I see talent as high quality construction material that we inherit. But houses get built by those who show up at the construction site and those who do the work every day, whatever the quality of their material. I think we all have a seed of a talent inside of us that we could grow and turn into a decent skill or a mastery even. But that seed will not grow if we don't do anything about it. Since starting school, we are normally burdened with too many obligations and we don't have enough time to find and explore our talents. And schools don't help because they demand we devote equal time to all of the subjects, even though we don't have any interest at all for some of them. And after finishing formal education, we start working, which leaves us with even less time for trying out different hobbies and creative pursuits. Even if you could find a few hours every day, at the end of a work day, you're emotionally, mentally, physically exhausted. Many people crash in front of the TV or go out for a beer with equally exhausted friends in need of distraction and relaxation. And weekends we tend to save for socializing or escaping the cities. And in the worst case scenario, again, TV and alcohol. I used to do TV and partying a lot, but I don't do that anymore in the last 10 years. One of my unpopular beliefs is that 40-hour work week should be illegal, unless you can provide a proof that you really enjoy it and then that you're not damaging your health in any way. I believe that unfulfilling work, which leaves you exhausted and unable to do anything creative the rest of the day, is not worth the paycheck. I also believe that we can all carve out a bit of time in our schedules every day for a creative activity, whatever it is. Something you have always left for an imaginary day in the future, when you will have more time and energy, maybe more money to devote to it. But yeah, most of the time that day never comes. Also, they say that if you want to become a master at anything, you will need a lot of hours of practice. And Malcolm Gladwell says it's about 10,000 hours. So the good thing is that you will need much less than that if you don't want to become a master, if you just want to learn a new skill. And that leaves a lot of time to become relatively good at many different things. Like in this TED Talk that I've seen by Josh Kaufman, the first 20 hours, he claims that 20 hours of practice is enough to learn anything. And it's only about 45 minutes a day for a month. And anyone can carve out 45 minutes a day, I think. So he proved it by playing ukulele on the stage after 20 hours of practice, and it was pretty good. So the number of required hours probably depends on your talent, but the sooner you begin practicing, the sooner you will become good. So I think when you find the right activity for you, you will get into the state of flow. You will be so focused and immersed in that you won't be counting hours anyway. And if you're not sure what your thing is, you can just try out whatever excites you, what attracts you, what scares you, what tickles your curiosity. Because, yeah, that's where your talent or passion probably is. I decided recently again that I will stay in the field of visual arts, that I'm not going to do any more jobs outside of visual arts and design. That's as narrow as I can go. And yeah, the book Zone of Genius inspired me to make that decision. I had decided that before, but I didn't stick with it. Also, the book 4,000 Weeks that I'm listening to now, I have just 1,404 weeks left if I live to be 75, which I would be happy with. So life is short. You've got to enjoy it, not just after work or weekends. I want to love Mondays. I also decided that I would only work part-time, so I have more time and energy for painting and my other passions. I wouldn't even want to paint 8 hours a day. Doing any one thing 8 hours a day is just too much. I also want to take long walks in nature, socialize, work on other projects, exercise, dance, knit. I will probably finish an art school in Florence one day. That's one of my mini dreams, mini quests. Yeah, not more than 1 year or 6 months, I think. Though I don't think schools are necessary. I just want to do it as an adventure. There are things to learn for sure. Though, yeah, you figure things out as you do it. I think I figured out many things about painting. But yeah, I know there's still a lot to learn.